It is White and Jordan. I'm Adam Catterall in for Jim White. Ahead of him getting stuck into the new time of 1 o'clock in the afternoon as the World Cup is upon us. Mr. Jordan, very kindly, he's still here as he jets off tomorrow.
Indeed.
And joining us in the studio, the one, the only Mr. Ade Oladipo. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. You know, this is a good 12-1, isn't it? I'm looking forward to this. Loads of boxing stuff to talk about. I jet off to America as well. I jet off to the World
When'd you
Cup.
go?
I go Thursday morning.
Look at this.
Thursday morning. First game, Brazil-Morocco. You know what I mean? Just a bit of Neymar and Vinicius
Are you in
Jr.
New York, are you?
I am.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Brazil-Morocco game on
Yeah?
Saturday. Yeah.
So we can meet up for a nice coffee.
Yeah, he'll be in the box, mate. You'll have to have a get in the suite.
They've got in the penthouse suite in the Hilton. They've got me renting a room. Yeah.
It's 34 degrees in New York.
Wow.
And raining.
Interesting.
So cute.
Interesting.
Brutal. Listen, lots going on in the world of boxing. We're going to be speaking to Ben Shalom very, very shortly. Lerone Richards is going to be on the show as well. He's actually going to be in the studio, which is great because we want to shine a little bit of light on what happened to him last week. But let's have a little bit of a reflection on what happened at the weekend just gone. Obviously, Zuffa Boxing stepped out of the Apex. They came to the south coast of England, Bournemouth, the BIC, where Chris Billam-Smith took on Ryan Riziki. It was an absolute slugfest war. The card itself delivered some big moments. But Sam, your observations of Chris doing his thing at the weekend in his hometown?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Chris back in the ring. Nice to see him put a performance on. I think it was hard work. I think it was a brutal fight. It was, to me, watching that fight was like watching Fabio Wardley fight Daniel Dubois without perhaps some of the gore. But notwithstanding that, Chris came through a very difficult. I thought he made it more difficult for himself during the fight than I anticipated he would. But I think Riziki was a tough customer, but there were levels in this fight, and I thought that Chris showed the levels. What it tells me about Chris going forward, I don't know in terms of who he fights next and whether he gets another shot at a world title or whether he wins another world title, because I think any of us, with all due respect to Chris, who we all like, don't see Chris beating Jai Opetaia. Where it lands, I don't know, but he did his job, and it was a brutal performance. That's the sort of fight that takes a hell of a lot out of both fighters, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Normally, when you look at the person that loses and you think, okay, it takes a lot out of them, but that would have taken a lot out of Chris Billam-Smith as well. I mean, that Ryan Riziki, and you could tell from the build-up during fight week that this was a no-jokes type fighter. He was coming over to win, obviously like unbeaten, but he just looked tough as old boots, didn't he? And it was a fight from the very first round. Like boxing normally tries to give you feel-out rounds. There was no feel-out, nothing. I mean, they went straight at it immediately. Yeah. Headbutts, elbows, everything. And I think Chris knew from the very first second that he was going to be in a bit of a war.
You know that it's a rough one when someone's getting a point deducted in the second round for a headbutt. Yeah. Repetitive headbutts.
Yeah, and you know as well, when they start breathing out of their you-know-what after the first couple of rounds, you know, okay, these guys have given everything in the first 6 or 7 minutes, and then it's a case of who can hang on. Yeah. And Chris is a big, big cruiserweight, and in the end, I think that kind of shone through and came through. And the fact that Simon mentioned, he's just a better boxer. Riziki's tough, but in terms of boxing ability, it wasn't really there. It was just grit. He was square on. I didn't know if it was orthodox or southpaw because he was throwing punches from everywhere. He just came to win and fight. But yeah, brutal fight. And look, the winner really should go on. Chris Billam-Smith should go on to fight Jai Opetaia. That's the easy one to make, right? Jai's with Zuffa. Chris is with Zuffa. They've circled each other for like 12 to 14 months. Jai's been on this show with you, and he's had a bit of a foul language outburst saying how much he wants to fight Chris. So that should be the one to make, but I don't know if Chris is ready for it. But ultimately, what's Chris, 34?
Yeah.
This is it, isn't it? This is it.
It's hard because we in one aspect of boxing, we're talking about all these boxing promoters coming together under the same platform and fights being really easy to make. Everybody's working together. And then you've got Zuffa over here who are kind of doing something themselves on their own, signing fighters with a very different attitude. And you're right to point out there, the next logical fight based on that model for Chris Billam-Smith would be Jai Opetaia. But he's also talking about unifications with other champions that are in this division. I say unifications, even though he's no longer the IBF champion, having that stripped off him a little earlier on this year. So that actual story around everything that's happening, the ramifications of what comes off the back of the weekend, is still a bit messy from a Zuffa point of view.
Yeah, Benavidez to Chris has caused a lot of problems. Benavidez has caused a lot of problems to a lot of cruiserweights because all of a sudden he's jumped up and he's looked so good. Everyone now is screaming Jai Benavidez or Benavidez Bivol. And
or him to come back down.
Or even for him to come back up. Or even Benavidez to go up one more to heavyweight. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but you feel like he could chin a few heavyweights.
I mean, you wonder where Chris can go. I mean, ultimately, you've just seen Benavidez take care of Zurdo Ramirez. You saw what Zurdo Ramirez did to Chris Billam-Smith.
Yeah. Yes.
You look at Jai Opetaia, and as much as we like Chris, and we want him to do well. It's a reach to suggest that, given the performance he put in against Zurdo, I saw him against Masternek. He made hard work of Masternek, but came through it, and we've seen what Masternek has done subsequently. But the bottom line is you look at Chris Billam-Smith and say, what do you do? Where are you headed towards? Are you headed towards a paycheck or a world title? Because I think you're going to get a paycheck, but I don't think you're going to get a world title. And how big that paycheck is, I don't know, because you've got this Zuffa, situation. Benavidez has looked at Zuffa and gone, oh, who cares about that, right?
Yeah.
So, and you make a case for Chris going against either one of those and go, it's a very hard night's
From
work.
their business model, though, Chris and Jai works for them. Because Chris is what is he, number 3, number 4 with a ring? Yeah. And obviously the ring holder
is... Jai Opetaia sitting in a studio a year ago saying that I will have the fight for nothing. But that was when Chris had a belt.
I was just about to say that, and that's when Jai had a belt.
Yeah.
So they both had belts. So it was Jai's dream at the time was undisputed, and he kept on screaming that and shouting that undisputed. Now all of a sudden he's been stripped of the IBF. Chris has lost his belt, as you mentioned, to Zurdo.
He's the ring holder, though, isn't he?
He's the ring holder. But now all of a sudden Chris coming to the table for Jai. Like if we were to get Jai on the phone and say, "Do you want to fight Chris?" It might be like, well, maybe not as much as I wanted to 12 months ago.
Did we learn anything about Chris in that fight? I mean, we've seen him come back and the fights. Brandon Clanton, this fight. Have we learned anything about Chris?
I thought
the loss to Zurdo emerged.
I think his ring IQ is definitely going up. I think he's still the same type of fighter. He's a brawler, isn't he? He gets it. He likes it on the inside, and I think he's got an incredible amount of will to get through fights. I think skill set, he is getting better, and I thought his ring IQ, the way that he managed it, because that's uncomfortable. Kid comes in and sticks his head on you in the first couple of rounds. He's got his elbows in your face and the forearms going and what have you. You've got to have a little bit of something upstairs to be able to navigate that and manage that.
Yeah, and, also,
and not lose heart when you're chinning him a couple of times.
And also, and I guess one of the most important things in terms of fans and bums and seats, value for money.
Yes.
What we learned from Chris is like, okay, if I pay my ticket, which isn't easy for working class, if I pay my ticket and I tune in, I'm going to get an entertaining fight. So I think that's important because we do see some boring fights. And Chris isn't one of those guys that's in a boring fight. It's the final chapter for Chris. Whatever he does next for the next 2 years, we'll close the curtain.
Do we see any merit in Vidal Riley stepping into the ring with Chris Billam-Smith at this stage in his career?
I think Vidal's in a really good spot right now.
It's a dangerous fight, that, for Chris, I think. You know, it's because Vidal's fresh.
Yeah.
Vidal's fresh. And as you mentioned, Chris has had war. Like, Chris will give you a war. It's just how he fights, unfortunately. He's not going to be on his toes and boxing and jabbing and moving out the way. Whereas Vidal's just almost just fresh, isn't it? I know Masternet gave him some problems. It's a bit of a step up for Vidal, but it's one that Vidal would want to take. I don't see the merits in Chris taking the Vidal fight. It's almost a bit of a step backwards. He will be looking towards Benavidez or Jai. Whether or not he can win those fights, obviously that's a different conversation. But if you're Shane McGuigan, you're like, that's what we want now. That's it.
Let's pick out who else has been the real deal this week with Selco Builders Warehouse.
The Real Deal on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
Now, let's not be messing about. The big story on Friday, gentlemen, is that Katie Taylor's going home. Their Croke Park gig is on. It's an opportunity for her to become a 3-time undisputed champion, but I think that's kind of the secondary part of this story. It's a celebration of someone's career. Ade, you're going to be right in the mix with all this. The announcement on Friday it brought a smile to my face because I know it's been going on for such a long period of time. Obviously, the jurisdiction and everything surrounding the politics of this in Ireland has been a bit of a nightmare, but Matchroom did incredibly well. Eddie Hearn's pushed this right over the line and he's finally got an icon her moment.
Yeah, and look, credit to Brian Peters as well. I think it's almost been a collective effort to get her the big fight back home. I say big fight, to get her a fight back home. And there was a part of me that wanted it to be against someone. I was screaming.
You're thinking Serrano or something like that?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. But unfortunately, when you fought Serrano 3 times and you've won 3 times, the 4th one might be difficult to sell. There was some talk about a Chantel Cameron trilogy. But these are risky fights for her to go in her last one. But I wanted a bigger name, but then I just kind of had to take a step back and say this is just almost a celebration of Katie Taylor. Right. It's not really a case of Katie Taylor having a fight, because we've seen Katie Taylor have so many fights in her career. She's not someone that, needs another name added to the CV. She will go down for me as the greatest female fighter of all time. So we don't necessarily need another big name at the end of it. I think it's almost a celebration of her, a celebration of Irish boxing, and her just almost getting that final swan song to say goodbye to everyone where it all started. And I think that's the story.
Question for both of you. Will this be the hottest ticket?
I've asked this of Irish people just because 82,000's a lot.
Massive a lot.
It's a big, you know what I mean? And normally, even when it's AJ and Fury doing fights over here, they still need the dance partner. They still need someone opposing them. They still need the press conference to go crazy, right? To kind of make sure they sell it out. And I've asked, like, will she be able to sell it out? And everyone has repeatedly told me absolutely yes. So if that's the case, and I defer to them, they have more knowledge on sort of the love that Katie gets in Ireland than I do, then I say it will be the hottest ticket in town. But still, it's a lot, because it's Katie Taylor versus someone that we don't really know, and we're not quite sure yet of the undercard. I wish it was a celebration of Irish boxing. I wish Pierce O'Leary was on it. I wish Anthony Kakache was on it. You know what I mean? A full celebration. Get Mick Condon out of retirement, let him fight Josh Warrington. Everyone, basically.
But that would detract a tad from it being Katie Taylor, wouldn't it? Because if we start to make it about Irish boxing, then really what it is, as you said from the outset, is a celebration of Katie Taylor. Pricing policy will determine to some extent how much the audience becomes. But if she does get, and I think they probably wouldn't put it there, they didn't think she was going to get it, because she doesn't want the indignation of saying she gets 40, 50,000 fans in an 82,000 position, that it's a remarkable reflection on the scale of opportunity that now exists in women's boxing, but also specifically and explicitly about her achievements. So both of them, to go to your point, is a celebration of the sort of flag-bearing position that she's operated in, both from an excellence point of view, but also for people's perception of her.
Yeah, I think when you've been in Ireland and been around Irish people, she's bigger than boxing. We're talking about a sporting icon, a fantastic human being who has achieved so much. Personally, for me, she's the greatest female fighter of all time. I know that Clarissa will be on to me, and what about this, and the other? But I think just the level of opponent that she's fought, the level of opponent that she's beaten, she's had some dubious ones along that way. I don't think we can get away from that, but she's been absolutely magnificent. And I think that you're going to get a very different demographic of fan coming to this fight than you would, for example, AJ and Fury. I think that casual fan from a boxing point of view will all want to be AJ versus Fury. If we get that at Wembley Stadium, that'd be fantastic. But I think you're going to get kids, you're going to get grandmas, you're going to get aunties, uncles. Every man and his dog is going to be wanting to be there for this massive sporting moment. And let's not forget, fighting at Croke Park doesn't happen. Last person to do this was Muhammad Ali in 1972. So this is a huge, huge moment for Irish sport. I genuinely think it could be the hottest ticket in boxing.
And also, to add to that, I think because people know the struggles and the stories of getting it at Croke Park, it's almost a case of we are going because, A, it might not happen again, as you mentioned, for 5 decades.
Yeah.
So you've got to go and enjoy these things because they don't come around.
You're not going to get another Katie Taylor.
You're never going to get another Katie Taylor, And we pray to God we get one, but I doubt we will. And I do hope. I know it is the Katie Taylor show, and you're right. I hope Amanda Serrano does fly out. I hope she's watching ringside, because I think their stories are so intertwined. I think what Katie's done...
She was unlucky in the first 2 fights.
She was unlucky in the first 2, and I think their stock have risen because of fighting each other. I mean, Katie would already have been a superstar, but those fights with Amanda at MSG, and then obviously nearly 60 million watching it on Netflix. I just hope Amanda's ringside and they can almost just both have a cuddle at the end for what they've achieved together.
Wholesome. You want a wholesome moment?
I'm a wholesome.
You're a wholesome type of guy, aren't you, mate?
Type of guy. I haven't invited Clarissa. She might still.
There will be nothing wholesome if Clarissa's there, mate.
No.
There'll be a kick-off somewhere. Anyway, that was a look ahead to our pick for this week. Real Deal with Selco Builders Warehouse. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.